The power of focusing on yourself. Have you ever noticed how the world is full of noise? Thousands of voices trying to tell you who you should be, what you should do, and how you should live. And in the midst of it all, the most important voice that needs to be heard, your own, is often lost, drowned out by the external noise. Focusing on yourself isn't selfishness, it's an act of courage. It's looking inward with honesty and compassion, taking responsibility for your own life and investing in the transformation that starts with you. On this path, you'll discover that the power to change is in your hands, and that when you become your own best ally, the whole world begins to conspire in your favor. The power of focusing on yourself, the journey that transforms everything. Focusing on yourself is like lighting an inner light that illuminates the path, even on the darkest days. It's the silent force that drives you to get off autopilot and take control of your existence. But why is it so difficult to focus on yourself? We live in an age of constant distractions, social media, news, and external and internal demands that pull us in 1,000 directions. In all this confusion, it's easy to forget to look inward, to understand what we truly want, what makes us happy, and what we need to grow. When you decide to focus on yourself, you start to notice patterns that previously went unnoticed. You recognize thoughts that limit you, habits that pull you away from your purpose, and emotions that need to be embraced and transformed. This journey isn't linear or easy. It's made of progress and setbacks, of moments of light and shadow. But it's precisely in this process that you find your true power. The ability to know yourself, to forgive yourself, and to reinvent yourself every day. Continuing the journey of focusing on yourself. When you start to look inward more attentively, you realize there's a voice that almost always takes a back seat. The voice that knows what you truly want, what really makes you happy. But for years, you may have ignored that voice, preferring to follow what others expect or what seems safest. Focusing on yourself is, above all, an act of deep listening. Listening to your desires, your pains, and your doubts without judgment. It's giving your essence space to manifest and guide you. This careful listening creates fertile ground for self-knowledge, which is the foundation for any true transformation. Self-knowledge is the foundation for inner focus. Without knowing yourself, you become a boat adrift at the mercy of external winds. It's learning to identify when something or someone is leading you astray. When you focus on yourself, you start to realize the importance of setting healthy boundaries. The courage to prioritize yourself. Focusing on yourself requires courage because it often means swimming against the current. It may be that people close to you don't understand your change, or that you need to let go of old habits and relationships that no longer make sense. But prioritizing yourself is essential for you to become stronger and prepare to live with authenticity and fullness. When you take care of yourself, you have more to offer the world. This is the great truth. Taking care of yourself is not selfishness. It's the foundation for helping others in a genuine way. Exercises to strengthen your focus on yourself. Daily self-perception practice. Set aside 10 minutes every day to ask yourself, what am I really feeling right now? Write it down without a filter, without trying to fix anything. Just acknowledge your emotions and thoughts. This simple habit helps you tune into your inner voice and understand what's happening inside you. Create a sacred space for yourself. It can be a corner of the house, a moment in the day, a simple ritual. This space is for you to connect with yourself in peace, without interruptions. There, you can meditate, write, read something inspiring, or simply be in silence. Reflect on your values. List the principles that guide your life. Compare your daily actions with those values. This reflection helps you align your choices with what's truly important to you. Set clear boundaries. Learn to say no to what doesn't contribute to your growth. Setting boundaries is an act of self-love and respect for your energy. Overcoming internal barriers. Focusing on yourself also means facing internal resistance. The voice of excessive self-criticism. The fear of being judged by others. Insecurity about what's best for you. These challenges are natural, but they don't have to paralyze you. Practicing self-acceptance, patience, and inner forgiveness is fundamental to moving forward. The transformation that comes from focus. When you decide to place your focus on yourself, something powerful happens. You start to create a healthier relationship with yourself. You stop seeking external approval and find confidence within you. This is reflected in all areas of your life, in relationships, at work, and in your mental and emotional health. Eastern philosophy and inner focus. In Eastern philosophy, especially in Buddhism, there is the concept of mindfulness, full attention. It's about being present in the moment, observing your thoughts and feelings without being carried away by them. This practice helps to strengthen your inner focus and prevent mental dispersion. The importance of silence. In a noisy world, silence is a revolutionary act. By cultivating moments of silence, you reconnect with your essence and allow your inner voice to manifest with clarity. Focusing on yourself is the key to unlocking the doors that lead to your true potential. It's a journey of courage, love, and discipline that transforms not only your life, but the way you relate to the world. When you become your own best ally, nothing can stop you. Emotional autonomy. Building your inner fortress. Emotional autonomy is the power to be the master of your own emotions, without depending on what happens outside you to feel good or bad. It's building an inner fortress capable of withstanding life's storms without losing your calm, clarity, and hope. But how do you reach that state? In the past, many people gave away their emotional power to the opinions of others, to circumstances, and even to internal criticism. Living at the mercy of these external forces is like being on a boat without a rudder, adrift, vulnerable and tired. Building emotional autonomy is therefore an act of courage and commitment to yourself. It's learning to observe your emotions without blindly identifying with them. It's developing the skill to respond to situations with awareness, not on autopilot. The foundation of emotional autonomy. Emotional autonomy begins with recognition. You are not your emotions, but the observer of them. This distinction is fundamental to preventing feelings like anger, sadness, anxiety, or fear from controlling your decisions. Imagine a river. Emotions are the water flowing, sometimes calm, other times turbulent. If you are a piece of driftwood, you will be carried away by the current without control. But if you are the fisherman who understands the river, you know when to row against the current and when to let yourself be carried with wisdom. The importance of emotional awareness. To develop this autonomy, the first step is emotional awareness. Pay attention to what you feel in different situations without judging whether it's right or wrong. Accept your emotions as valuable information that indicates what is happening inside you. Conscious pause practice. When a strong emotion arises, try the conscious pause. Stop what you're doing. Take 3 deep breaths. Observe the emotion like a visitor without identifying with it. This practice creates space between the stimulus and the reaction, allowing for more balanced responses. Restructuring limiting beliefs. Often, our emotions are reinforced by negative beliefs, such as "I'm not enough" or "I don't deserve to be happy." Identifying and questioning these beliefs is essential to freeing yourself from them. For example, when you feel insecure, ask yourself, is this belief true? What evidence do I have for it? The role of self-acceptance. Emotional autonomy also involves self-acceptance. Accepting your imperfections, your mistakes, and your vulnerabilities creates fertile ground for transformation. Emotional resilience. Developing resilience means learning to recover from emotional challenges without losing hope. It's understanding that difficulties are part of growth and that every fall is an opportunity to get up stronger. How Stoic philosophy helps with emotional autonomy. The Stoics teach that we don't control external events, but we can control our reactions to them. This ancient wisdom is a pillar for anyone seeking emotional autonomy. Practical exercises to strengthen your inner fortress. Emotional journal. Write about your feelings daily. Meditation focused on emotions. Positive visualization technique to face challenging situations. Gratitude practice to balance your emotions. Building emotional autonomy is giving yourself the gift of inner freedom. It's the basis for a happier, healthier, and more balanced life, where you are the protagonist and not a victim of circumstances. The art of forgiveness, freeing yourself from the chains of the past. Forgiveness is not forgetting or justifying what was done. Forgiveness is a gift you give yourself to break free from the invisible prison of resentment and bitterness. When you hold a grudge, you're carrying a weight that consumes your energy, your peace, and your ability to move forward. Forgiveness is an art that begins within you, in your own time and at your own pace. It's a process of deep healing that transforms wounds into learning, pain into strength, and bitterness into compassion. But why is forgiveness so difficult? Because forgiveness requires courage. The courage to look inward and face the emotions you've avoided. It requires humility to accept that we are all imperfect and that holding a grudge only prolongs suffering. Forgiveness as an act of freedom. Forgiveness does not mean you accept what happened or that you minimize the pain. It means you choose not to carry the weight of that pain anymore, freeing yourself to live fully. Imagine you are carrying a backpack full of stones. Each stone represents a grudge, a hurt, a resentment. The more you carry that backpack, the heavier your journey becomes. Forgiveness is the moment you decide, out of love for yourself, to drop that backpack on the ground. How to start the forgiveness process. Acknowledge the pain and accept that it exists. Don't judge yourself for feeling angry, sad, or hurt. Understand that forgiveness is a process, not a single event. It can take time and requires patience with yourself. Practice empathy, trying to understand the other person, even if it doesn't justify what was done. Free yourself from the role of victim, taking ownership of your strength and protagonism in your life. Use meditation or prayer to seek peace and clarity in this process. The impact of forgiveness on emotional and physical health studies show that forgiveness reduces stress, improves sleep quality, strengthens the immune system, and increases a sense of well-being. Forgiveness is a path to complete healing, mind, body, and spirit. Practical exercises for forgiveness. Write a letter to the person who hurt you, with no intention of sending it, just to express your feelings. Practice self-forgiveness, acknowledging your flaws and allowing yourself to start over. Meditate by visualizing yourself releasing emotional burdens. Philosophy and spirituality in forgiveness. Many spiritual traditions teach forgiveness as a path to liberation and inner peace. In Christianity, Jesus invites us to forgive 70 times 7 times, showing that forgiveness is a constant exercise. In Buddhism, forgiveness is linked to detachment and compassion. The art of forgiveness is an invitation for you to free yourself from the chains of the past and make room for a lighter, more fulfilling and happier life. When you forgive, you're not changing the past, but you are creating a different future, a future where you are the protagonist of your own peace. The importance of self-care, nourishing the body, mind, and spirit. Self-care is not a luxury or selfishness. It's a fundamental act of self-respect that involves attention, care, and responsibility for your overall well-being. In our fast-paced days full of demands, it's common to put self-care on the back burner. But the truth is, we can only offer our best to the world when we are well within ourselves. Self-care as the foundation of life. Taking care of yourself is recognizing that you are a complete being, made up of body, mind, and spirit, and that each of these aspects deserves attention and respect. When we neglect any of them, we begin to feel imbalances that affect our energy, our mood, and our ability to face challenges. Nourishing the body. The body is the vehicle that allows us to live this unique experience called life. Eating well, exercising, getting quality sleep, and respecting the signals your body sends are basic forms of self-care. It's not about seeking an aesthetic standard, but about honoring the temple that houses your soul. Caring for the mind. The mind is the center of our thoughts, beliefs, and emotions. Practices like meditation, inspiring reading, constant learning, and taking breaks to relax help keep the mind healthy and focused. It's also important to observe negative thoughts and learn to replace them with empowering beliefs. Cultivating the spirit. Spirituality is not necessarily linked to religions, but to the connection with something greater than ourselves. This care can be nurtured through prayer, meditation, contact with nature, art, or any practice that brings meaning and inner peace. The relationship between self-care and self-love. When you take care of yourself, you are saying to yourself, I deserve to be treated well. This recognition is the foundation of self-love, which in turn strengthens your self-esteem and resilience. Practical exercises for self-care. Create a daily routine that includes moments of pause and care. Make a list of habits that make you feel good and commit to practicing them. Set aside time for activities that feed your spirit and creativity. Pay attention to the signals from your body and mind, respecting your limits. Self-care is the fertile ground where health, happiness, and personal fulfillment flourish. When you dedicate yourself to taking care of yourself holistically, you create the conditions to live with more energy, balance, and purpose. The power of positive thinking. Reprogramming your mind for success. Thinking positively isn't ignoring challenges or pretending everything is perfect. It is instead choosing to focus on what can be built, what can be improved, and the hope that moves us forward. Positive thinking is a powerful tool to reprogram the mind, undo limiting beliefs, and open up space for new possibilities. When we cultivate this attitude, we influence not only our mental health, but also our ability to act and achieve. The impact of positive thinking. Our thoughts shape our reality. They influence our emotions, actions, and even our physical health. When you feed your mind with positive thoughts, you are creating fertile ground for success, happiness, and resilience. Identifying limiting beliefs. Before cultivating positive thinking, it is essential to identify the beliefs that sabotage your growth. Phrases like, I'm not capable, I don't deserve it, or this will never work out, are internal barriers that can be replaced with empowering affirmations. Techniques to reprogram the mind. Positive affirmations. Repeat phrases that reinforce your worth and abilities. Creative visualization. Imagine yourself living your dreams and goals with detail and emotion. Daily gratitude. Focus on what is already good in your life to attract more positive things. The power of repetition. The mind is a machine that learns through habit. The more you repeat positive thoughts and actions, the more natural they become. Positive thinking in psychology. Positive psychology studies how to cultivate emotions and attitudes that promote well-being. Incorporating positive thinking is one of the paths to increasing emotional resilience and mental balance. Reprogramming your mind for success is a continuous process that begins with small, daily actions. By choosing to focus on the positive, you open doors to a more fulfilling and accomplished life. The wisdom of stoicism, accepting what we cannot change. There are moments in life when fighting certain circumstances is like trying to hold water with your hands. The more force we put in, the more it slips away. It's natural to want to control everything, people, situations, the future. But the more we seek this total control, the more we get frustrated and worn out. The secret, as the Stoics taught, is not to control everything, but to learn to accept what cannot be changed and to act on what is within our reach. Stoicism is not about passivity or resignation. On the contrary, it's about strength, presence, and clarity. It's about recognizing reality as it is, not as we would like it to be, and from there, finding the best way to act. When we stop spending energy trying to change the unchangeable, we free up strength to transform what is truly in our hands. Life is full of unexpected events, an unexpected loss, a relationship that ends, a job that didn't work out. Many people spend years stuck in lamenting, as if complaining could rewrite history. But the truth is that acceptance is liberating. Acceptance doesn't mean liking or approving. It just means stopping the fight against what already is. It's like stopping rowing against the current and finally allowing yourself to float until you reach a safe shore. Think of the metaphor of the Stoic archer. He prepares the bow, adjusts the arrow, aims carefully, and shoots. The entire process, up to the moment the arrow leaves his hands, is under his control. But from that point on, factors like the wind, the distance, and the movement of the target are beyond his reach. The wise archer doesn't despair if the arrow doesn't hit the bullseye. He evaluates, adjusts, and tries again. So it is with life. Do your best in the part that is up to you and have the serenity to deal with what no longer depends on your actions. What most destroys a person's inner peace is not the events themselves, but the internal resistance to them. It's the attachment to how things should be that causes suffering. Stoicism teaches us to replace that phrase with another. Things are as they are. What can I do with this now? This simple change in thinking shifts the focus from frustration to practical and conscious action. When we accept what we cannot change, we not only protect our energy, but also strengthen our resilience. This attitude makes us less reactive, more strategic, and more emotionally balanced. It's no coincidence that many leaders, entrepreneurs, and thinkers find an ally in Stoicism. Because in the end, what differentiates those who prosper from those who fall apart is not the absence of problems, but the ability to deal with them without losing their center. You don't need to become insensitive to live this philosophy. On the contrary, accepting reality allows us to feel more purely, without distortions created by denial or resistance. We can live through pain, grief, or frustration, but we don't let ourselves drown in them. It's like watching a storm from the window. You recognize its power, but you remain protected in the shelter of your consciousness. Therefore, every time something goes beyond your control, ask yourself, is this under my influence or not? If so, what can I do now? If not, how can I adjust my attitude to move forward with ease? Life becomes simpler when we stop fighting the uncontrollable. Acceptance is, paradoxically, the key to transformation. It's the starting point for living with more peace, more focus, and more freedom. Discipline and routine, turning focus into results. Focusing on yourself is a decision. Turning that focus into results is discipline. If focus is the compass that points the direction, discipline is the daily step, repeated until it becomes a path. Without discipline, even the best intention gets cold. Without a routine, even the greatest clarity gets lost in the noise of daily life. Many people confuse discipline with rigidity or with denying pleasure. It's not that. True discipline is freedom. It's having enough structure so that you can consciously choose where to invest your energy. A routine isn't a prison. It's the engine that keeps you moving when motivation is gone. Why does discipline fail for most people? Because they try to turn deep changes into an event instead of a process. They want instant revolution, to wake up on Monday and already be a completely new person. That doesn't exist. The brain learns through repetition, not through declarations. And repetition needs a system, triggers, an environment, rewards, and patience. Furthermore, we operate with a wrong idea about willpower. We treat willpower as infinite fuel. In reality, willpower is limited and gets worn down. That's why those who depend only on it get exhausted. The shortcut is to structure your environment and create habits that don't require much conscious effort. The power of small victories. A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, and with small, repeated steps. Discipline flourishes when you collect small victories until they become a part of you. Reading 10 pages a day, meditating for 10 minutes, writing 3 thoughts of gratitude. All of this seems small, but in 90 days it transforms your mind. Call this a micro-habit. The secret is that micro-habits take the pressure off your ego. They demand little willpower, and because they're easy, they are more likely to be repeated. Repetition, that boring word, is what builds identity. I am someone who does X. Identity generates consistency. Consistency generates results. The architecture of a habit. Trigger, routine, reward. James Clear and the Science of Habits explain it well. Every habit has 3 parts: a cue, trigger, an action, routine, and a reward. To build discipline, design triggers that don't depend on willpower. Want to meditate? Put the mat next to your bed. Trigger. Want to write? Leave the notebook on the coffee table. Want to exercise? Have your clothes ready next to your bed. The reward needs to be immediate, because the brain values quick returns. If your long-term goal is health, find a reward right after the action. 1. A playlist you only listen to after working out. 2. A special coffee after reading. 3. 5 minutes of silence after meditating. Small reward. Reinforcement. Environment. Your ally or your saboteur. Have you noticed how easy it is to eat junk food when the pantry is full? Or how easy it is to waste hours on your phone when the app is right on the home screen? The environment speaks louder than discipline. Make it your ally. Remove temptations. Place visual reminders of what matters. Design physical routines that make good actions the natural path. Practical examples. If you want to stop checking social media when you wake up, charge your phone in another room. If you want to read more, leave a book next to your bed instead of your phone. If you want to eat better, prepare healthy meals on the weekend. Rhythm plus intensity. Don't confuse speed with progress. Many people confuse hard work with stupid work. Working long hours without control isn't better than working with deep focus for short, strategically aligned periods. The concept of deep work shows that uninterrupted periods with a clear objective generate much more impact than entire days spent jumping between notifications. For high-impact discipline, work in uninterrupted blocks, 50-10 or Pomodoro 25-5, depending on your rhythm. Plan your most important task, MIT, of the day. Protect your time as you would a meeting with someone important. Accountability. Discipline thrives with accountability. Alone, you procrastinate. With someone expecting results, your chances increase. Find an accountability partner, a mentor, a group, or even a public journal where you track your goals. Healthy shame in a good way and the awareness of being accountable are powerful fuels. How to handle setbacks and reset. You will fail. It's that simple. The question isn't whether you'll fail, but how you get back on track. Create a recovery plan. Acknowledge it without self-punishment. Analyze what caused the failure. Trigger, environment, lack of sleep. Adjust the system, reduce the difficulty, change the trigger. Get back on track as soon as possible. Discipline is less about perfection and more about getting back up quickly. Consistency is built with the frequency of starting over, not with the absence of failures. Emotional discipline, the invisible engine. Discipline isn't just an external habit, it's also emotional regulation. When your mind panics, your body wants to run. Emotional discipline, breathing, conscious pausing, anchoring in your values, keeps you at the helm. Train yourself to recognize the feeling of wanting to flee before it becomes an action. Powerful questions help. Does this action bring me closer to my goal? Does this honor the person I want to be? Practical strategies to start today. Identify one keystone habit that, if implemented, creates a domino effect. Lower the barrier to entry. Make the action easy. Micro habit. Design clear triggers. Time of day, location, object. Define an immediate reward, something your brain likes right after the action. Track and review. Use a daily checklist and review weekly. Create an accountability network. Tell someone your goals. Plan for setbacks. Know how to reset without drama. Discipline is not a prison, it's the structure for freedom. A routine doesn't kill life, it supercharges your best days. When you turn focus into a ritual, and a ritual into an identity, the result is inevitable. The world will test your consistency. Life will try to distract you. Your biggest opponent will be the voice that asks for immediate comfort. The winner is the one who chooses every single day to build the person they want to be. Discipline, the invisible foundation of personal freedom. Many people see discipline as a prison, a series of rules that restrict life and stifle spontaneity. But the truth is that discipline is precisely the opposite. It's the foundation of true freedom. Without discipline, life becomes a hostage to impulses, procrastination, and external circumstances. With discipline, you become the architect of your own destiny. Imagine a river. If it flows freely without banks, it spreads out and gets lost in puddles and swamps. But with firm banks, the water gains strength, direction, and reaches its destination with power. Discipline is exactly that. The banks that direct your energy so it doesn't get dispersed. In Stoicism, discipline is seen as an act of self-mastery. It's not about depriving yourself as punishment, but as a conscious choice to ensure that your deepest goals prevail over momentary desires. It's what Epictetus called true freedom, the kind that is born not from the absence of restrictions, but from control over oneself. Discipline is waking up early, even when your body wants more sleep, because you know the day will be more productive. It's staying calm when the impulse is to yell. It's saving money for a bigger goal when the urge is to spend impulsively. It's continuing to train even when there are no immediate results. It's giving up momentary pleasure to achieve something that will bring lasting satisfaction. Positive psychology reinforces that self-discipline is one of the most important skills for achieving any goal. Studies show that disciplined people not only achieve more results, but also report higher levels of personal satisfaction. This is because living in accordance with your values and goals creates a deep sense of purpose and internal coherence. But it's important to understand, discipline is not built overnight. It's a muscle. The more you train it, the stronger it gets. Small, daily victories like making your bed in the morning, keeping your desk organized, or meeting a deadline strengthen this internal muscle. Over time, this strength becomes natural and begins to influence all areas of your life. In Eastern philosophy, especially in Zen Buddhism, discipline is practiced as a form of inner alignment. The monk who sweeps the courtyard every morning doesn't just do it to keep it clean, but to train the mind to remain present, focused, and resilient. Just like in physical training, repetition transforms practice into habit, and habit shapes character. The biggest trap for those seeking discipline is believing that it needs to come from motivation. The truth is that motivation is unstable, it comes and goes. But discipline is independent of how you feel. It's acting even without wanting to, because you have decided that is the way. That is the difference between those who dream and those who achieve. Discipline is not about absolute rigidity. It's about knowing when to say yes and when to say no. It's about creating a set of principles that guide your choices, even in the face of temptation. It's refusing invitations that go against your goals, not because you're boring or antisocial, but because you respect your own commitments. The freedom that is born from discipline is silent, but powerful. It's the peace of not being a slave to your own vices. It's the security of knowing you can trust yourself to do what you promised. It's the peace of having clarity about where you are and where you are going. And most importantly, discipline is not perfection. You will fail. You will have bad days. You will give in to temptation. But true discipline is not measured by the absence of falls, but by the ability to get back up and continue. Every time you get back on track, you are reinforcing that your commitment is stronger than your excuses. If you want to change your life, don't wait for the right moment or the perfect inspiration. Start with one small, disciplined act today. Read for 10 minutes. Walk for 15. Save $20. Simple actions, repeated with consistency, transform destinies. In the end, discipline is not a burden, but a gift you give yourself. It's the bridge between who you are and who you want to become. It doesn't trap you, it sets you free. There are moments in life when everything seems to fall apart. Projects fail, relationships end, dreams are interrupted. It's as if we are standing on the edge of a cliff, looking into nothing, feeling the weight of what was lost. It's during these times that the word rebuild sounds almost impossible, as if energy, faith and spirit have been torn from us. But what stoicism, positive psychology and Eastern philosophies show us is that every end is also a seed of a new beginning. Just as winter prepares the earth for spring, losses and ruptures prepare us for a blossoming we can't yet see. Starting over isn't erasing the past, but giving it a new meaning. It's transforming pain into fuel, a fall into momentum, emptiness into space for something new to be born, accepting the end without fighting reality. In Stoicism, there is a concept called amor fati, love of one's fate. This means accepting life as it is and not as we would like it to be. When something comes to an end, our first reaction is to resist, to try to hold on to what is leaving. But this fight only prolongs suffering. Acceptance is not giving up, but recognizing that certain doors close so that we can see others that were hidden. It's saying to yourself, it didn't go as I planned, but maybe it's exactly what I needed to grow. Breaking free from the weight of guilt and regret. The past can be an anchor or a springboard. If you cling to regret, it becomes a weight that keeps you from moving forward. But if you extract lessons and transform them into wisdom, it becomes a solid foundation for your next step. Positive psychology teaches that post-traumatic growth is real. Moments of crisis can make us stronger, more empathetic, and more resilient. This doesn't mean we should romanticize pain, but that we can choose what to do with it. Ask yourself, what is this experience trying to teach me? And from there, build your next chapter. The value of pausing before starting over. In Eastern philosophy, especially in Taoism, there is the principle of Wu Wei, acting in harmony with the natural flow of life, without forcing. Starting over doesn't mean running desperately to fill the void. Sometimes you need to stop, breathe, and simply exist for a while. Like an archer who pulls the arrow back before launching it, This pause creates the necessary space for you to direct your forces with more clarity and precision. Start small to start strong. Many people believe that starting over requires grand gestures, but in reality, new cycles begin with minimal steps. It's the first workout after months of being sedentary. It's the first honest conversation after a painful silence. It's the first night of peaceful sleep after weeks of insomnia. These small victories create a domino effect. When you honor each step, no matter how small it seems, you are training your mind to believe again in the possibility of change. What you take and what you leave. Before you move on, ask yourself, what from this story deserves to come with me, and what do I need to leave behind? Maybe you'll take the courage you discovered in the midst of pain. Maybe you'll take clarity about what really matters, but leave behind resentment, the need to always be right, and unfair comparisons. Starting over is traveling lighter. The less weight you carry, the farther you can go. Rebuilding self-esteem and self-confidence. Crises and endings often shake our self-image. We might feel inadequate, incapable, or unworthy of trying again. But self-confidence is not born from constant success, but from the ability to get up repeatedly. It's in the act of trying, even with fear, that courage is strengthened. Start by rebuilding your relationship with yourself. Take care of your body, feed your mind with good content, and surround yourself with people who lift your energy. You are the soil where your new future will grow, and that soil needs to be fertile. The power of purpose in starting over, without a why, any how becomes heavy. Purpose is the compass that keeps you on your path, even in the middle of a storm. In Buddhism, they talk a lot about the importance of intention. What is the reason I am taking this step? Starting over without clarity can lead to repeating the same mistakes. Starting over with purpose, however, directs your energy to create something that truly makes sense to you. Opening yourself to the unexpected. Often, the life we want is not the life we truly need. Starting over can lead us down paths we never would have imagined. New jobs, new cities, new relationships, new dreams. Open yourself to surprises. Excessive control suffocates the journey. The unexpected, when received with openness, can be exactly the missing piece of the puzzle. Starting over as a continuous cycle. Starting over isn't a single event. It's a constant cycle of life. Changes in direction, goodbyes, losses, new phases. Everything requires small deaths and new births. When we understand that starting over is a natural part of existence, we stop fearing endings. We start to live with more ease, knowing that every ending carries within it the embryo of a new beginning. Life is made of beginnings and endings, but what truly defines our story isn't what ends, but how we choose to start over. The end is not a sentence, but an invitation to be reborn, to reinvent yourself, to walk lighter and wiser. You may not have control over what ended, but you have total control over what you will build from here. Don't wait to feel ready to take the next step. Start, and readiness will come with the movement. What seems to be a final chapter may just be the introduction to the most beautiful story you are yet to live. Today, choose one small action that represents your new beginning. It could be organizing your desk, starting a new project, writing down your goals, or simply going for a walk. Remember, courage is not the absence of fear, it's acting in spite of it. And the right time to start over is always now. The discipline of conquering yourself. The hardest battle anyone faces is not against rivals, crises, or external circumstances. It's against themselves. Against laziness, procrastination, destructive impulses, self-sabotage, and the inner voice that says, you can't do it. Conquering yourself is a daily act. It's not about defeating the world, but about mastering your mind, your body, and your emotions. It's a silent process without applause, but one that builds true strength. Discipline is not a prison. It's the bridge between what you desire and what you achieve. It transforms intentions into actions and actions into results. The invisible enemy, inner resistance. Stephen Pressfield, in the book The War of Art, calls resistance that internal force that always appears when we try to do something that matters. It manifests as laziness, fear, doubt, or distraction. The first daily victory is to recognize this resistance. Don't try to deny it or pretend it doesn't exist, but face it head on. When you understand that it's a natural part of the process, you can act in spite of it. The power of micro-commitments. It's not willpower that sustains discipline, but daily micro-commitments. It's the, today I'm going to work out for at least 10 minutes. Today I'm going to write 1 page. Today I'm going to study for 20 minutes. These small commitments, consistently repeated, create a powerful cumulative effect. They defeat perfectionism and build solid habits. Self-mastery, the art of saying no to yourself. Conquering yourself is often saying no to immediate pleasures in exchange for lasting results. It's refusing the temptation to postpone, to look for shortcuts, to give in to excessive comfort. Stoicism reminds us that the truly free person is not the one who does whatever they want, but the one who masters their desires and emotions. Real freedom is being able to choose consciously and not being a slave to your own impulses. Building discipline like a muscle. Discipline is like a muscle. The more you exercise it, the stronger it gets. But like any training, you have to start light and increase the intensity gradually. If you try to change everything at once, the chance of giving up is huge. Start by choosing one area to strengthen and let that initial victory inspire the next ones. The role of identity in discipline. You don't maintain habits just through willpower, but through the identity you choose to take on. If you see yourself as a disciplined person, your daily choices begin to reflect that identity. The question is not just what do I want to do, but who do I want to be? If you want to be healthy, act like a healthy person. If you want to be organized, act like an organized person. Behavior follows identity. Dealing with setbacks without giving up discipline does not mean perfection. You will make mistakes, fail, and break habits. What matters is the ability to get back on track quickly. Many people give up because they see a setback as a definitive failure. But true discipline understands that setbacks are part of the journey and that every return is a victory. Routines as a shield against self-sabotage. Having a clear routine reduces the number of decisions you have to make, and this preserves your mental energy. When something is already part of your schedule, it no longer depends on motivation. You just do it. Example, if your workout is always at 7 a.m., there's no mental debate about whether you'll go or won't go. It's simply what you do. Discipline as freedom. It seems contradictory, but discipline is what sets you free. Without it, you are stuck with impulses, distractions, and regrets. With it, you create time, energy, and focus for what truly matters. As Jocko Willink, a former Navy SEAL, said, discipline is freedom. A disciplined life is lighter because you don't waste energy deciding at every moment. You already know what needs to be done. Celebrating small victories. Conquering yourself is a long war, but it's made of daily battles. Acknowledging and celebrating every small victory keeps motivation alive. Don't wait for a great final result to be proud. Feel victorious for every day you did what you promised yourself. The legacy of self-mastery. Victory over yourself is the foundation for any other achievement. Career, relationships, health, finances, everything depends on your ability to maintain focus, consistency, and clarity, even when no one is watching. Someone who conquers themselves becomes unshakable in the face of external challenges, because they have already learned to fight the hardest battle and to win it every day. The greatest glory is not in defeating others, but in defeating the weak, lazy, and undisciplined version of yourself. Every time you choose to act despite resistance, you are molding a new version of yourself. Remember, discipline is not punishment. It's an act of self-love. It's proof that you care enough about yourself to do what it takes, even when you don't feel like it. The world may try to stop you, but if you learn not to sabotage yourself, nothing can stop you. Today, choose one small battle against yourself and win. It could be waking up earlier, avoiding a distraction, or completing a task you've been putting off. Every day you conquer yourself, you get closer to conquering anything. The journey of self-mastery and personal transformation. Throughout this journey, we have walked a path of self-knowledge, discipline, and mental strengthening. Each topic was more than an isolated lesson. It was a brick in the construction of an unshakable mindset. We discovered that the foundation of any transformation is awareness. Someone who doesn't understand themselves lives lost, reacting to the world. Self-knowledge is the map that guides your choices. We realize that blaming the world is easy but useless. Taking 100% responsibility, even for things that seem beyond our reach, is what puts us in the driver's seat of our own lives. We learned that attention is the most valuable resource we have. Focusing on what matters and filtering out the excess of information is essential to maintain clarity and direction. We discovered that protecting the mind from toxic influences is like tending a garden. You have to pull the weeds and feed the soil with ideas and habits that strengthen it. We explored the power of self-control in key areas. The mouth, to avoid words that destroy. Mood, to maintain balance. Money, to ensure stability. And the mind, to direct energy in the right direction. We understood that trying to please everyone is a recipe for frustration. When we invest time, energy, and attention in our own growth, we become stronger to help others as well. Fear doesn't disappear. It is tamed by action. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision to act despite it. We discovered that life will test our strength, and the ability to get up after falls is what separates those who win from those who give up. Discipline is the link between dreams and achievements. It is what transforms intentions into concrete results, even when motivation is not present. The internal battle is the most important. Conquering laziness, impulses, and self-sabotage builds true freedom. When you master yourself, no one can master you. It all comes down to a single truth. The greatest project of your life is you. By investing in your mind, controlling your actions, and cultivating habits that strengthen you, you become an unstoppable human being. The external world is uncertain, but your inner power can be absolute, as long as you are willing to fight and win the daily battle against your weaker self. He who conquers himself conquers anything. Now it's up to you. You already have the tools, the ideas, and the strength necessary to transform your life. But nothing changes just with reading or inspiration. Change happens when you act. Don't wait for the perfect moment. It doesn't exist. Start today with what you have, where you are. Control your mind, strengthen your spirit, and walk firmly in the direction of your best version. Remember, every step you take towards self-mastery is a brick in the construction of your freedom. If this content touched your heart, share this message with someone who needs to hear it. Together, we can spread light, courage, and purpose far beyond ourselves. The world needs your best version, and it starts now.